Hi, everyone, and welcome to Thank You Five, a weekly show hosted by Strawdog Theatre that brings together theater artists from around the world to discuss the evolving landscape of live theater in a digital age. Together, we explore the challenges, triumphs, and innovations that emerge when live theater is in the digital world. Our guests represent a diverse range of experiences and perspectives, from actors and directors to designers and producers, each with a unique insight into the transformative power of theater. With a spirit of gratitude and a commitment to innovation, Thank You Five invites you to join the conversation and discover the exciting possibilities that lie ahead for theater in the digital world. My name is Carmine Grisolia. I am an ensemble member of Strawdog Theatre Company in Chicago, Illinois, USA, Earth. I'd like to mention that introduction was officially written by ChatGPT. So that's yet another triumph in the digital world. This is we're in new frontiers here. So we thought we'd try that out, and I think it went great. So we have a great panel here tonight, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves, starting with Denise. Denise, please introduce yourself to the world.
Hello, world. I am a cactus blossom. I am a theater director. I am a lifelong learner, an activist, a turtle, tejana. I am an intimacy professional and a scholar and a lover and a proud Chicago theater artist. I'm very thankful to make work here. And my pronouns are she, her, and ella.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Next up, we have Wendy. Wendy, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, hey, y'all. I am Wendy Mateo. My pronouns are she, her, ella as well. I am so many things. I am an actor, a writer, a comedian used to be, a filmmaker, and now I am the co-artistic director of a theater company named Teatro Vista, who's been around for 32 years. Amazing. I have not, but the theater. And yeah, I'm all kinds of things, and I'm super excited and geeked to be in this room with some of my peers who I just absolutely love. So thanks for having me.
Excellent. Welcome. Nice to meet you. Next up on my list is Nestor. Nestor, would you introduce yourself, please?
Yes, hello everyone. My pronouns are he, him, él, ese. I'm a storyteller. I was born in Guatemala. I've been living in Chicago for the last 30 years. So I'm a storyteller, and I also do a couple of solo shows.
Excellent. Oh, I can't wait to hear about that. All right. And finally, Sono.
Hi, I am Sono. I am a stand-up comedian, actor, writer, performer, drama queen, dramatist. My pronouns are she, her, ella, ladki, and yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Excellent. Well, so everyone, that is our panel, and we are going to kick right into it with the traditional first question of the evening. And that is the very easy and quick to answer. What is theater? So now what I see here on my screen is that nobody has raised their hand to answer this question first. So, trial by fire. Anybody would like to jump in and answer that question first? What, and it can be whatever it means to you. What is theater? Denise.
Theater is people coming together to listen and learn, to experience a new world, and to exercise the muscle of empathy while challenging atrophy in their community. Theater.
Wow. Wendy?
I'm not sure if I can follow it. You just guilted me into raising my hand,
Oh,
so
yeah.
I did it. Sometimes I am challenged by this question. I believe theater is an expression of art, an expression of story. It is storytelling through body, through mind, sometimes through dialogue, but not all the time. And it is a form of expression that I believe connects to the heart. If visual art connects to the eye and music connects to the ear, I believe theater is the art of the heart.
Right.
There you go. Write it down, somebody.
Art of the
Take
heart.
notes.
I'm writing it down. And Sonal, do you have
I like how it's like we're being called upon, and
Yeah.
it's like the
Oh, and don't worry, we'll have some follow-ups here. I mean, I think this is good to get a little intro from each of you about your feelings on the subject. So theater, what is it?
okay. We're talking empathy. We're talking atrophy. I think that really theater for me, in my Sonal Agrawal experience of the world, is anywhere, any space in which there is an invitation for active listening, which could be in the role of either audience, also performer. That active listening, I think, is something that when we're in observer and being observed space, not necessarily for the purposes of entertainment, but just to call that presence of being, can be interpreted as theater. Anywhere where there's like a performer and a performed to, which can move. That's like a spectrum that moves. But anyone can do theater in any space. It doesn't have to be like in a building. Theater. Theater. Is this more of an RE group? This I mean,
You're on the ER?
I
said ER.
vehemently disagree with RE. So
Vehemently. That's so passionate.
Yeah. Based on what, Wendy? Is that like
is it an anti-British stance? Because I'm
Yeah.
so here for that. I'm
is
sorry.
that
We're
an
supposed to not be blue.
anti-colonialism kind of thing, or
I don't know about vehemently, but the people that I grew up like in my art, like auditioning for, who were like vehemently RE people, were people that were not my people. So I'm like, you know what? But I think Teatro Vista uses RE. I don't know, but I don't like it. It's Thtr,
Yeah, Strawdog uses RE. I always thought it was a little.
Yeah, you spell it in Spanish and it's Villa, dice teatro, and that's it.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
that's fine. That's fine with me. And Nestor, what about you? How would you define theater? What is theater to you?
I am mostly a storyteller, and I have done some solo shows. So for me, theater is more, I don't know, it's a wide spectrum, because I have seen production like Hamilton, where you have music and you have like a bunch of people on the scene, and I have seen solo shows which I love. I don't some myself, and some of my friends perform solo shows. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a huge production. It could be a very simple production of one person, basically just a conversation between two entities. That's to me a conversation between two entities.
So we've had the two entities and conversation. The conversation seems to be a common thread in everybody's definition. And I guess does that mean that an audience is required for there to be theater? Is any conversation theater? Is a a phone call a theater because there are two people interacting with each other, or that seems like not fair, right? Theater is something more than that, right? So it's got to be. So what do you think about that? Does it require an audience? And must the audience give feedback or you have some sort of impact on the performer, I guess, is the question. Anyone? This is a thing that people listen to, so you
I
can...
would argue, I mean, I would argue that you need an audience, but I've done many an improv show with one person sitting there. But that was theater.
But
you
it's
know?
not zero people.
It
Yeah.
wasn't zero people. I needed
Because
that
when
one
it's zero
person.
people, you're like,
Right.
okay, let's call it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's zero.
Yeah, but it
people.
doesn't. You don't need to
Let's
have an
go.
audience immediately. You could record it and have an audience years later. You know, it doesn't have to be the audience present at the moment.
I'm so happy none of those shows were recorded, but yes.
Or if we talk about if we're talking about like a conversation can be through movement. So if it's dance, for example, the difference between somebody who's maybe giving a performance for the ocean, you know, that dynamic is going to perhaps be one of their most profound performances. And I would assume that the dynamic would change if there is a human audience presence, you know, but maybe it's like, oh, I performed for a field of cows. You see those videos where
So
it's like,
yeah,
somebody
like an
plays
offering
the
or
flute.
something to be received.
An
and like all the
offering,
cow,
yes.
offering is definitely then I wouldn't say that that's theater or but the performance could be an offering could be seen as a performance. I don't know if the person
Yes.
giving the offering would be like, I'm doing a performance, right? They'd be like, I'm singing a song for the goddess of the water, por ejemplo.
Wow, that's interesting. I guess I never really thought about performing for the ocean before, but now I want to start up a show. So if in that case, is the artist performing for themselves, really? And does that count as theater?
I was about to say that because I sing in the shower all the time, and my wife is like, "What are you doing?" And I performing to myself, like a concert to myself, singing love songs to myself. So.
I love that.
So, right, and so
go ahead.
No,
I think it's pleasure in the making sometimes. Sometimes it just comes out of us and we can't help it, you know, and like it might not be for an audience, it's just for the pleasure of making it. Like singing to the ocean or singing to the cat. I sing constantly to the cat, you know? Yeah.
And the cat's like, but I mean, you feel like there just needs to be an exchange.
Yeah.
And that could be within self, you know, you can. I've been at karaoke and I'm like, that one was for me. No one's paying attention right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's okay.
But have you done karaoke that you would classify as theater?
Yeah. I've done
sure.
karaoke.
Totally.
You haven't been to karaoke with us.
Yeah.
There's a storytelling show that has a karaoke involvement on it, where you do a song and then you have to sing or pull the
I've
people
seen
that
that,
and
together. I want in on that.
Oh,
yes.
I could put you
Jacoby,
in touch.
he's one of the mod guys.
Oh,
that's cool.
Yes.
So good.
Yes.
I would do
I love
that.
karaoke. I love karaoke. That's amazing.
So that's
Send
like
me an email. We'll put you in touch.
That's a very literal answer to the question, you know, but then there are places where it's like it's amazing to see a performance versus that would be yes, context of theater where it's like a ticketed event, we're doing theater. They're also making storytellers sing songs, which is very vulnerable and showing a side of yourself that wouldn't be very different from like singing in the shower, right? Because you're doing it as
I feel sorry for the audience that was listening to my singing.
And how was it? ¿Cómo te fue?
I'm sure they were entertained.
I I sang Imagine all that people.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's nice.
Yeah, it sounds great. I mean, I'm enthralled. So it's funny. I never really, Kyle, I never thought, so I never imagined that in a theater conversation, I would run into a huge group of karaoke nerds.
We're all just failed
Yeah.
rock stars, you know.
Yeah.
We're all
I karaoke
Hey,
at my
there's no
wedding.
failed
Instead
rock
of a
star.
first dance, we did a first duet. I love karaoke. I love karaoke.
That's
What did you
awesome.
guys sing?
We sang Besitos by Selena.
Oh.
It was very cute.
Yeah,
That's tremendous. That is
Yeah.
tremendous.
Karaoke's great.
I love it.
Okay, so karaoke is theater.
Yeah.
What's it? You know, what's not theater? Where do you draw the line then? What you know, what is there? I don't know. Is there a type of performance that isn't theater?
I don't think so.
Huh.
I think any
Next
kind of
question.
art could be incorporated into theater. You know, there were,
Wait,
there were people before. I mean, ages ago that were like fart on stage on command, and that was an act that was considered theater. You know,
Dadaists.
Vaudeville, yeah.
Interesting.
And I
So-
feel like you could have like the parts of theater or things that make up a theatrical experience, but until they're all mixed together with the chemistry of this like offering or receiving, I feel like it's just an art installation, right? Like I could walk into a room that is designed and lit and has a soundscape, but it's not alive. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's yeah. I feel like you could have the pieces, but theater is when the
You
stuff
need the
comes
people.
together with the spark of the people. Yeah.
It's the human. Yeah, the human is necessary.
I do feel like theater is maybe like there's something intimidating about it. I was in like maybe like ugh, if that it translates audio wise to the listeners. Just like even me doing this Zoom podcasting, I was like, a theater thing? I'm doing a theater thing? I was like, yawn. And I'm like, why am I what? I love Kyle.
yeah, but that comes back to that part where we have been told that we don't belong or that we're not good enough, you know, and that we shouldn't be doing this because we don't have a certain degree on this, on that, which is, I was going to say it, but I was told not to say this kind of words. Which is
We
not
get
right.
it.
Let's just
Oh,
put it
we
that way.
get it. No.
An absolute ban on all of the words. We just don't want to go overboard. So, you know, bullshit away. So, all right. So we do need a human connection for theater, but can the human connection be delayed in the case of a performance that would be recorded for consumption later? Is it necessary that the human on the receiving end of the theater impacts the artist in some way? Or can that be achieved by the performer on their own for reaction later? Or is that just a movie? Is that just a video? Is that just direct to video? A shameless cash grab?
Are you talking about DVDs? No.
VOD,
I think
video
it's still
on
theater.
demand.
It's still theater because you see all the in-betweens. You have to see the characters get from the end of one scene to the beginning of another. And if it's not the people that you're watching, it's something that's been designed for you to watch. And I feel like a film, you snip out a lot of bits, you know. I feel, and I think that ideally you have a in-person audience like there, so that there's the alchemy of like the bodies in space. But I think that people who are watching it on video are still experiencing it, but it's kind of like if we were doing research and we had like our primary source versus our secondary source versus like our tertiary source. Like it's just a little farther removed from what the original thing was, but I think it still is theater, and you can still have like a catharsis from it.
Yeah, let's go back to the example of Hamilton again. You know, during COVID, Hamilton was on the Disney Channel because nobody could go to theater, you know, in live. So it was still theater, but it was a recorded theater, you know, recorded performance of a piece. So it's still theater, although it's recorded, although you're watching it on video. You still get the same experience.
I think they're just two different like what do you call it? Pulling from different silos. Like a performance is a performance, you know, when you're filming on camera stuff, they still call it a performance. Like that was a great performance. That take was a good performance, right? But there is something to being in a room, like watching Cirque du Soleil on TV is a different experience than like experiencing Cirque du Soleil. So I think that there's an experience to watching that is a different experience from watching a video of the performance.
Yeah, there's an added element to it. It's like going to a concert or just watching the concert from home, you know.
Yeah.
I don't have to pay $25 for a soda.
Yeah.
And
There
or
are pros and
theaters.
cons.
Yes.
And like you'll see that even anything that would be considered a theater act, like Hamilton or stand-up comedians, when they're recording their specials, they're doing it in front of they're doing their Netflix special, but they're doing it in front of a live audience.
Yeah.
Because they want the element of the live audience. They need that energy for for their art.
Right.
The craft
Absolutely.
depends on the audience, and then you feel that energy when you're watching the special too. I feel like I watch different specials and I'm like, she's not getting enough laughter. Like Ida Rodriguez, I don't know if anybody's seen her special. And I was like, this is so killer, top to bottom, and I felt like she wasn't getting as much laughs. It should have. That's a whole separate conversation. But and I was gonna say the like movies are. We say we're going to the theater. That's the when if you're like I do theater, that means one thing. But if you're saying I'm going to the theater, nobody thinks that you're going to see a play. They think you're going to see a movie.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, that only happens in English, though. You know, maybe you're saying in Spanish. You know, doesn't.
So culturally, I mean, I don't know how it is where y'all are in India. They're like clapping, cheering, like throwing. It's like an experience. You're going to the theater. You're going to the theater, and like people are losing their minds. Everybody claps gets up and claps at the end of the credits. They also do this weird thing where they make us sing the anthem at the beginning of movies. It's so messed up.
Oh my gosh.
Oh wow.
I love
So
that.
wait, that's an interesting.
I don't like that. That sounds scary. Like,
is that just that's just expected by everyone who's in the theater, right? It's like a socially enforced ritual. Is that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that you're expected to like sing along, and nobody's like you have to sing along. It's just something, you know, you do the okay, please be quiet and go get a Coke and a chai or whatever, and then there's the anthem.
And then they do the anthem. That's interesting. That's you know, that's funny because when I was
it is so cringe.
Yeah. But now
that's like going to a sporting event here. Like, why do they play the anthem at the sporting events? Like, why?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
they, I don't know, but that was one of the things that I was thinking of when I was thinking of this of our conversation tonight and what some interesting questions might be, and I thought about the idea of ritual in theater, and that made me ask myself, why do we sing the national anthem in front of sporting events, but we don't do it in front of theatrical events? What's the difference? And you know,
I say we start new tradition, and next time we go to the theater, we start singing the anthem. We make it.
Or, you know, maybe we should take the opportunity to write a theater anthem that everybody sings before a theatrical event or something like that.
Break your leg, something like that.
Yeah, yeah, something about breaking your leg. So what? So that's a good question about ritual and superstition, they all tie very heavily into theater at its very roots. And we've got a few questions in our queue here about both of those things. So I want to start by asking, what are the rituals that you all have participated in besides singing the anthem for a movie, but like what sort of things are ritualized about theater in your experience?
Well, I've had a broken leg, so I don't love the break thing. And then especially when people who like know me, they're like, "You've already done that." Like.
Oh my God.
That's just mean. They
They're
say
not
that.
your friend.
And I mean, like, and the whole idea of like, if you say good luck, people are like, don't, oh no,
Right.
like, that's, I'm not into. Kyle said, don't say it 5 times.
Thank you, 5.
Oh, thank you, 5. Got it. Oh my God. Theater. Thank you, 5. Thank you, 3. Thank you.
Thank you, 2. Thank you, holding.
Yeah, right. That's a nice little kind of universal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What about to get into a show? Like, do you do anything? Have you ever participated in like a group ritual with the cast to focus? What are some of the things that you like to do?
Wendy,
I mean, there are 2 things because I come from 2 worlds, right? Improv world. I wish there was videos of improvisers. Like if aliens saw videos of improvisers warming up before a show, they would absolutely just be like, I never want to come back here again.
Because why? Describe what some of the things you've seen improvisers do.
I mean, there's all kinds. They're just the dumbest stuff. Like, what's the B-52's one? What's his? Hey, Fred. What's his name? Fred.
Oh,
from the
yeah, right. No, I don't remember his name.
Oh God, what is his name? Kyle, hey Fred, blah, what are you doing? And then you have to like talk as if you're him in the Love Shack song.
Right, yeah, I get it. Right. I'm getting ready to start this play.
What do you say? Okay.
So
so those things are super dumb. So that's
right. Silly tongue twisters, that kind of stuff.
And did anybody see Wild Wild Country?
No.
It's like it's a docuseries on Netflix about the cult that the Osho cult, and it's like the people in maroon. It's very beautiful cinematography wise, and it's like, and I bring it up because they're showing people doing these like super weird rituals, and I'm like, I mean, it just looks like a bunch of theater dorks doing warm up to me.
Right. So they say the theater is a big cult.
And I'm like, this is totally out of context.
If
you're watching this stuff, if you're not in it and experiencing, the group, then it, of course, from the outside, it's like, what the heck? I what do you call it? I auntied myself. What do you censored?
I auntied myself. I love that.
Anyone else? Do you have a special, like a warm up that you have to do in order to get ready? Is there a? It's fun.
I like
no.
Looking Glass has a fun one. I don't know if I'm supposed to tell the secret.
Tell,
definitely. But I'm gonna
tell us.
They're not here.
But they're not here. They surely are not here. But right before they go on, everybody in the cast basically says, "Good, fast, safe show. Rock the house." I censored myself too. Because they're very physical performers, or everything they do, has this sort of element of physicality or of outrageousness in the set or something like that. So they always started with good, fast, safe show. And then usually if you see them like congratulating each other on social media, they have like the acronym for it. But I always like that because that like connected you to somebody. It wasn't super cheesy. It was like, cool, 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 cool. Let's go. I like that.
Right. We always had, one at Strawdog, our kind of for many years at Strawdog, because we've been around for a long time, and our dear friend Jazz used to, he would come to each of the cast members, and he had a special handshake that he'd do, and
That's cool.
he'd say it was like a three-part fist bump, and he'd give each person like a special little phrase like "rock the house," or and it was really, really sweet to just connect, and you felt like he was bringing everybody's energy to each other. And then another thing that we would do would be, one that we got from the Factory Theater, I think, and the Factory Theater takes their ritual from the Bulls championship teams, that game time chant that they do. Have any of you ever experienced that?
No.
It is really it's amazing because it's a very high energy, it's a sports team driven kind of thing, and everybody circles up, and they and one person takes the center of the ring and just starts talking about the show and how we're gonna melt everybody's faces and how great this is gonna be, and everyone's just kind of pumping their fists and everything. And then at the end of that speech, that pep talk that the honorary coach at that minute is giving, it could be anyone from the cast, which is really great, is then they go through the I've got 3 words for or whatever it is. I forget how it goes. It's like, what time is it, right? Game time. Everyone replies game time. You do that 3 times, you keep on going through it, and everyone's yelling, no, what time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. 2 words, no more. And everybody just gets so fired up. It's so much fun. I haven't done that in years. I want to go back and do another show.
You just did it. That was like theater right there.
Yeah.
The explanation that you gave us. Yeah.
And I just got really, like, my heart is pumping right now, just remembering.
You got excited.
Just the ritual that we used to get into the show. But then there were other more mellow traditions that we had, like passing around a bottle of Old Granddad, when we were much younger.
Yes, whiskey before the show.
Just a little drink, just a little something, all sorts of things that we would do. And that makes me miss the process. And I haven't been on stage in a really long time, which the pandemic kind of slowed everybody, stopped everybody. How's everybody doing on that question? Do you feel like this is a spontaneous question, do you feel like you're back? You feel like you're back in the swing? I assume everybody had the same kind of hard stop and stutter. How have you all been doing in getting back to theater?
I feel like I did not have a hard stop, but I did have like things that maybe pivoted. So I was really fortunate that I kept making. I did a show with Strawdog where we it was a theatrical process for a filmed a performance art film, kind of, honestly, by the end of it. So I feel like I pivoted, and so things were going on, but now I feel like I am back to feeling like I have something to do every day. And I definitely spend more time on the train, and I do feel like I have a different level of stamina than I did before, and I think that I have stronger boundaries than I did before, and I think that also came from the pivot. So it's not, so even though I'm back, I'm not back at full swing, because actually full swing isn't super great for us to be at.
Right. So you're giving yourself some permission to,
Mhm,
to take that space.
mhm.
And that show, that Strawdog show that was really great. I was so proud of the company for that work. I thought that was a really, really, really lovely piece.
I would thank you. I was really proud of it too. I think that it could be in a dark room in a contemporary art museum anywhere in the world. I think it's such a cool film that we made.
Yeah, it really was. It was not, and I guess there's not really any place we can watch it now, right? Which is too
No.
bad. I mean, certainly it exists, but I'm
Yeah.
saying it's not in public. It's not for public viewing. We'll have to-
No.
how about anyone else? How are you doing in getting back to the theater?
I decided to become an artistic director in the pandemic.
Thank goodness.
I was like, you know what? Perfect time. I'll thrive here.
Excellent.
But I was assistant directing a show, this beautiful show at Looking Glass called Her Honor Jane Byrne, and we had opened on March 8th and we closed on March 12th. So that was really hard to grieve, that show. And we did a lot of things with it. We did a radio show that was on NPR or WBZ, but that was hard. That was a hard stop. That was really tough for everyone who worked on that show. And then, I became an artistic director and I was like, let me make some theater. I'll make it in the hardest time, anytime.
Right.
But it's been amazing. And I think it definitely pushes it's pushed me to think about theater outside the four walls of a space. It's pushed me to care about arts workers. It's forced me to think how I can meet them there. It's forced me to create a space where they can put boundaries and where they can challenge the way that we work if it doesn't work for them. And it has definitely made me think twice about the rooms that I walk into and for what reason.
Yeah, that's interesting that translates. That's translating across, I think, all professions, not just the arts. I think everybody took that time to really say, what windmills have we really been tilting at here?
Mm-hmm.
And is it worth it?
Yeah.
Anyone else want to talk about the trek back to theater?
You go, Nestor.
Nestor,
Well, thank you. I think that as people that we love art and we are artists, we are always trying to survive. And when COVID hit, we had to pivot and we had to challenge ourselves to going from performing live to performing virtually. And just when we were getting used to performing virtually, now we're performing back live, and it's a little bit scary. But because we have to find ways to survive, we accommodate ourselves. We always try to find ways to survive and to do our art. And going back to what you say about how things are changing, I think things were changing right during the pandemic. You know how they were claiming that employees are essential. Employees are essential, and this is a big slogan that was going on. Employees are essential, and now that the pandemic is a little bit behind us, now companies are firing people left or right, thousands of people. So what happened to the big slogan of employees are essential? So it seemed like things only changed for a little bit, and then they will go back to the old ways. I'm very pessimistic. So.
well, so have you been? How has that affected the theater that you're making, the stories that you're telling?
There are some companies that have taken great strides to accommodate the people that perform, like Second Story. Second Story is an organization that brings storytellers to perform, and they realized that they were not paying people maybe as much as they should. and they change the pay rate. Some people consider that it's not enough. They're not doing enough, but at least they're doing something. There are other organizations that continue with the same with the same way that they were operating before the pandemic, and that I wish that they would consider the people that they bring in. There's a lot of organizations that don't care enough for the people that do their shows. And I don't want to mention names, but we don't know who those people are.
That's a tough question. It's always a tough question. The question of equity and how. I mean, have you all heard the joke? What's the difference between an actor and an extra large pizza from Pizza Hut? See, that pizza is going to feed a family of 4, which is it's hilarious, not funny.
I think I get it and I don't get it.
Well, it's that problem where we all have to have a quote unquote day job in order to support our theater,
right? Like, who's actually an essential worker? The pizza.
The pizza is an essential worker. That's true.
And it's so interesting because there's so many things happening, and we're in this multitudes and all this convergence. I mean, today is the writer's strike, day 1.
Mm-hmm.
Yay!
And somebody was telling me that the last one was in 2007, and it went on for like 100 days, and there was like $2 billion that either wasn't spent or was saved. I don't know. I mean, what is the economy? What is money?
Without those writers and without the arts workers, like, our pandemic would have sucked. Like, it just would have been would have been the worst time.
Right, and how quickly they forget, right? They begged
Yeah.
the theater for entertainment. Please do something for us. And and a lot of theaters responded, but it's not like the money all flowed in. All that money that they talked about being disposable, income that people were just sitting on because they couldn't go out. And you would think that theaters would have been the beneficiaries of that in some way, but nope, nobody could figure out how to funnel that down to the theaters, right?
No, they can't figure it out.
Either they can or they don't want to, because doing it will bring changes that they don't want to affect.
Well, that's a different, right? Yeah, sure.
They don't want to disrupt the status quo.
Yeah.
They're going to have the same people in front always.
So, all right. So we've got, I don't know, about 10 minutes left, and we're going to solve this problem. We're going to solve this problem for the world. Sonal, what about you? Have you found your way back to theater? Did you have a hard stop for the? Yeah, you don't want to talk about it.
But it's interesting too, because hearing all of the idea of mourning peace and the show in 2020, that's when the pandemic was kicking off, right? I was like, I had a one-woman show that happened at the Steppenwolf in 2019, and I was like, I'm gonna take it to Edinburgh Fringe, and like, that's fine. Could have, would have, should have, man has plans, God laughs, or whatever, and he's had quite a chuckle, or she, or they, with this whole pandemic thing. And I mean, of course, if we're speaking from a place of gratitude, if gratitude is the attitude, then for sure there was some amazing Zoom spaces happening during the pandemic, and to be able to connect on a human level from such an non-human space of this digital world was like, oh, I remember coming out of some shows and just like closing up my little computer in my apartment, like, just like breathing that human connection that you felt so starved of, and coming back into, there's definitely been a time of like, there are a lot of people every day still that it's their first time seeing a live event since the beginning of the pandemic. So audiences are super grateful to be out, and it's cool to hear such evolutionary language like empathy and having clear boundaries. I'm like, everyone's super annoying since the pandemic, and that's I'm like, oh my god, I was on stage at the Laugh Factory and I'm like, look at these dorks wearing masks inside. I was like, oh, don't do that. Don't make fun of the people. I'm like, respect everyone. This is next joke. It was so bad. And we're adapting to, and that's a good note for me, that I need to spend time writing, funnier, inviting people in material where it's like, oh, look, survivors who want to continue surviving. I don't know. I don't need to workshop it right now, but the whoever is listening, if you're thinking about getting into the arts, definitely there are worlds and economies are here, but you got to do it. You got to do the work, and it is so much admin, and it is so much behind the scenes, and it is so much. I mean, right now from a stand-up perspective, it's a lot of like getting the clip, so bringing these. I heard a joke where it's like, I went to a show recently, I saw a lot of new cameras, but I didn't hear that much new material. And it's like everybody's like leveling up on creating the image. So we're always being hounded by capitalism. And there it is. And then so to be in that has been really tough, actually, where I'm like, okay, how do I need to get a clip now, and you're putting this energy into, I need to document myself and then cut that down and then either learn how to subtitle on my phone,
Oh
which
God,
doesn't
yes.
feel like, it
It's
feels
like a
so
whole other
important. It
job.
feels so
Sorry.
far away from, oh no, please, I know, please, everyone
Yeah.
feel tired for me. No.
Yeah.
Wendy,
No,
are you
no,
saying
no,
yeah.
no. He was saying that what you're saying, it's like it's a whole other
Yeah,
job,
it's a
and like
whole other
people
job.
don't
Just learning to
realize
put
that.
yourself on
Yeah.
social media. And there's so many platforms. God, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. You have to have like 8 accounts and put all these videos and stuff on all of them. And because we don't have money to hire somebody to do that for us. So we had to be like everything. We had to be writers, had to be creators, we had to be performers, we had to be editors, publicists, everything. Gosh. Yep.
And
Yeah.
then do you find that commercialized aspect of the product that we're producing does the commercialization affect your material? Does it affect your output? How much do you consider marketability and saleability when you're doing a piece of theater? Like, that's always been a question.
I mean, you do when you're trying to get butts in seats.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, this dork who's been doing whatever craft, it could be juggling, it could be storytelling, that has 18,000 followers versus
Are you saying the
somebody who's,
jugglers are dorks?
yes, I'm saying all of us are dorks.
Bro.
We are collectively, I'm using the royal dork. And
right, but then when you think about the butts and seats aspect, does it cause you, do you feel that that's a compromise to your art? Is that art somehow less?
Theater director?
I think in my seat, I feel like that the weightier hand on that decision comes before I'm hired. If it's already been programmed into the season, then folks have been thinking of their audience, and they've been thinking about the conversation arc of the season. So I'm there to do the best I can for that story because it's happening. I don't know. Yeah, I do know that's it. For me.
Wendy, what about from your perspective? You're the one who's choosing the shows, right? So
I mean, this can get like super meta, right? Like I can get so esoteric with this. I mean, overall, like above all, we live in this society, and so everything we do is commodified.
Right.
This is just where we live and how we go about it. you hope that my hope as a woman of color, as a Black Latina who's running a theater company, is that I can connect to the community that I am reaching through, the stories that I choose to tell, or that we choose as an ensemble and as a company to tell, is because for us in particular, these stories have never been told through bodies that look like ours. And so, you know, that is what I have to do for the child in me and for the future of children who look like me, and to be able to see themselves reflected not only because of their ethnicity or their race, but because of the stories that they have inside of them to tell. So for me, yes, it's a bit of both. I have fun commodifying it, though. I have fun packaging it. I have fun putting it together and seeing who bites and who comes in through the door and why. So I have some fun in that. I don't think it takes away. I think what the virtual world has taught us is that we can, you know, there are heights that we can continue to dream on that IP. Like our show that's coming up, The Dream King, for example, is a silent musical. It's a new sort of genre of work, a new thing we're doing, and it's really cool to package it and see who's excited about it, which is a whole new different audience than has been before. And so that's cool to me. So I don't know if that answers the question, but
I think to try to answer the question is like, I wish that I could do a solo show where like 1,000 people will come to see it, you know, but I would not do a solo show and omit the fact that I came to this country undocumented, because it's gonna upset some people. If it's gonna upset you, I'm sorry. You know, you might not be the audience for this show. And I hope that the audience that's gonna come to see the show is gonna come. And if they don't come, I'm not gonna change the narrative just to get more people in the theater.
right.
The narrative is going to stay the same, and hopefully it will reach the audience that I intended to reach.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we've done it, everyone. We've talked ourselves through an entire hour. And thank you all, because this has been another fascinating conversation. This is the first time that I've hosted. I've watched many of the episodes, and you know, coming in thinking, well, do I really want to pay attention to theater? But no, it's always, and it's always this engaging. It's always this fascinating. So for, you know, for everyone that's tuned in now and everyone who might tune in later, you know, check out our YouTube page, and you can go through all the past episodes, and listen to all the great stories that all of the great theater artists have told so far, and will tell more of in the future. So thanks, everyone, for being here tonight. Thank you to Kyle Hammond for creating and producing the show. Thank you to officehours.global. Thank You Five is made possible by Strawdog Theatre Company ensemble members. And Strawdog is run on a free theater model where our productions are available to anyone and everyone. And we can only do this with generous donations from our community. You can find information about donating or becoming a Strawdog member and helping to continuously support our work at our website, strawdog.org. And we'll see you next week for another conversation with more theater artists. Please submit your questions. You can do that at any time. If you want to join in on one of the conversations, do you have a friend that you think would be great for a future panel? Hit us up at strawdog.org. There's a Thank You Five page. And thanks again, everyone, for watching. So great job, everyone.
Thank
Good night.
you. Thanks for having us.
Thank